From the Intellifluence headquarters in sunny Scottsdale, Arizona, this is the Intellifluence Influencer Spotlight. In each episode, we sit down with an influencer from our network and we discuss their background as well as their unique approach to influencer marketing. Emilie Haney is a self-employed freelance writer, photographer, graphic designer, and part-time youth director living in Northern California with her husband and 2 dogs. Emilie writes young adult fiction and has built a thriving community around her Instagram platform and brand, Create, Explore, Read, with a focus on bookish merchandise sold on Etsy and Society6. Check out Create, Explore, Read, or follow Emilie on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, to name a few.
All right, so I'm going to kick this off. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and including how you became a writer?
I have always loved story. I loved reading since I was super young. My parents would read to me before bed when we were on vacations, things like that. And I think that love of story just kind of transitioned as you get older. You want to write your own stories. So I started doing that at 10 and they were horrible. But as I got a little older, when I hit my senior year of high school, I challenged myself to write a novella for my senior project. It kind of just kicked off from there. And then as time went by, I actually studied music in college and kind of did a bunch of different things, ended up doing photography as well, and then circled back around to my love of writing. Every year I write for, it's called NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month. And as I did that, I just fell in love again with writing as an adult. So I picked up freelance writing in, probably like 8 years ago, and just started to seek out clients. I've worked on Upwork and a bunch of different freelancing sites and found people who just wanted to hone their stories or they wanted me to write them for them. So I've done a lot of that. And on the side, I've also written for myself and I'm working on getting my book published, hopefully sometime soon.
That's so awesome. It sounds like you were involved in a lot of creative different aspects. I'm going to be going for my master's actually in music myself within like the next month. So kind of piggying off of that, since you did all the creative different aspects, where do you draw your inspiration from for your young adult novels?
Oh, so many things. But since I write predominantly young adult science fiction and fantasy, there's a lot of things that happen in our real world that to me, I think, it would just be a little bit cooler if it was in space or if there was magic involved. So I start to think of ideas based on what people would call like a high concept. So the current novel that I'm going to be submitting to publishers is The Greatest Showman meets Star Wars in space. So things like that where you're like, oh, I love these two things. What would it look like if they were together? Same thing with fantasy worlds, but usually it starts with a what if question. What if this happened? Then what would happen next? And then I fall in love with the characters and kind of go from there.
You honestly mentioned one of my favorite movies. I love The Greatest Showman.
Oh, awesome.
So as soon as you said The Greatest Showman in Star Wars, I was like, I might be reading that.
It helps to kind of get an idea because a book idea itself is like so vast. So it's hard to be like, well, it's this and this and this. I'm just like, I'll just distill it to that.
Yeah. It also is a great movie. So hopefully you got a lot going off of that. So also, what have been some of your favorite collaborations to date, whether with a brand or with another author?
So through my Instagram page, which is kind of dedicated mostly to books, hence all of the books behind me, I've gotten a chance to work with a ton of different publishers. So I get advanced copies of books to read and things like that. But then I've also been connected with brands who just like my style or, want to kind of reach into a different area on Instagram. One of the brands I'm working with recently is, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but Gaston Luga. And they create really awesome backpacks. And it's perfect for me as a writer because I'm always headed off to a coffee shop to write somewhere or, adventuring out on a hike or something. So they've sent me a couple of backpacks to use. And I get to feature my books, but I also get to feature their products. So for me, kind of working with them and working with studio headphones as well, because I listen to a lot of audiobooks, it melds really well with my brand. So I like a brand that connects with reading, maybe not it's not book related necessarily, but something that's kind of along the same lines as I enjoy reading or I enjoy listening to audiobooks or things like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm behind you with the reading sometimes. Instead of watching TV, go that. I'm not as much into audiobooks, unfortunately, but
it takes a special kind of focus. So I get that.
And you mentioned kind of when we started this, you do have a podcast. Can you tell us about the Exploring the Blank Page podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. My co-host and I, Kristen Crum, it was during, I think, the apocalypse of 2020, we sat down and we don't live close by, so we sat down over Zoom and kind of brainstormed this idea. Independently, we had both wanted to start a podcast, but we thought, wouldn't it be better with us together? So there's a little bit of that work sharing type of situation. So we started, I guess it would be I think it was the end of 2020, and just kind of reached out to the authors that we've connected with. We both work with authors quite frequently. So we had a lot of people we had already known, and we knew that they'd be willing to be on the podcast. So we started off our first season with those intimate connections. And then moving on into our second season and then thinking about our third, we're starting to reach out into just more of, hey, are you interested in being on a podcast and growing it that way? But it's focused on young adult books, and we love to share anything that's connected with that. We had an editor on recently, just things like that, where we can share our love of reading and writing together. And we came up with the name based on the fact that we all start at the blank page, whether that's a reader as they're turning their page or whether that's the writer as you sit down to write. We all start there. So what does our process look like?
I love that name. It's also like a blank slate. Everyone starts new, right?
Mm-hmm, very true.
I also love how you describe the pandemic. You're right, 2020, the apocalypse.
Yes.
Could not be described even better. It's still going. And there's also some brands I know that don't always necessarily do their due diligence. I'm sorry, I cannot speak. There's always some brands that don't do their due diligence and kind of look into what your niche is. What are some of your weird collaborations you've received, if there are any?
Definitely there have been. So when I think about collaborating with a brand, I always try to think, okay, is this something I would use in my daily life? But then also there's the constraint of, does it fit on my platform? I've gotten some vitamin connections that have been very interesting, but honestly, I've actually decided to work with them because as a person, I like gummy vitamins and I want to explore, well, is this a new brand that I could really use? So when I'm thinking of working with somebody, it's always, will this fit into my personal lifestyle as well as what I put forth on my Instagram page or my platform? And a lot of the times it might seem a little far-fetched that vitamins and books go together because they really don't. But me as a person, I'm kind of like the core of the brand. So I figure if it's something that I would use, honestly, then I'll work with them. But yeah, I've done that and some weird light stand things that, it's just weird stuff that people think, hey, will you sell this? Will you share about this for me? But again, if it's something that I think I would use or will actually showcase, then I'll probably work with them.
I like that mentality. And so I don't take up too much of your time today. For our last question, what are some of your goals as it pertains to the end of the year or your writing and influencer marketing?
Oh, for sure. I am a big dreamer and a big goal creator / follower, but at the same time, I am a bit of a free spirit, as I think most creatives are. So I like to sit down and plan and think, this is what I want to accomplish by the end of the year. And then a lot of the times I kind of, but there's this project or this project. So I have a feeling that's going to happen for the rest of this year. But as of actually today, like the recording of this, I've just submitted my book to my agent. So I'm going to be on submissions with publishers for the rest of this year with that young adult novel. And then I will basically hop into the next book, which is the best advice I could give any writer, is just always write the next book. And as I'm doing that, I will also be just trying to expand my platform in general, sharing more about my writing journey and more about the books that I love, basically. Other than that, I think probably consistency would be my last goal. It's hard after coming off of that crazy year last year, and things are starting to, shift back a little bit to the way they were. But at the same time, everything's different too. So I'm hoping, at least hoping to be able to get back into the normal, what's the word I'm looking for? The normal run of things, I guess. And being able, my cat, I'm so sorry. My cat's hitting the door right now.
No worries. No worries.
But yeah, being able to shift back into regular life, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah.
Want to join Intellifluence as an influencer for free? It's easy. Visit Intellifluence.com, click on the influencers link, and then click on the Join for Free button to sign up. You'll get immediate access to our influencer marketplace where you can browse relevant offers from brands and apply on the spot. Earn cash quickly by referring your friends and family. You'll also be eligible to receive attractive product and service pitches from brands. There's absolutely no cost to join as an influencer, so we hope you take advantage of our service. Also, be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date. That's it for now. We hope to see you soon.